Well, today, as we continue our discussion on focus, we are going to bring back our good friend, Pastor Jerry Ingles. Welcome back.
Thanks, Dan. It's great to be here.
Yeah, and something that many people who are watching these videos don't even know, either of us, but anyways, don't know about Jerry is that he is a bona fide West Pointer.
Yes, sir.
You as a military man.
Class of 96, and then infantry officer, U.S.
Awesome.
Army.
Very good. And so I invited Jerry to come and be a part of this conversation about focus because being a part of the military requires focus. And again, I can't even imagine to be a part of a service academy. I mean, I am a community college product, honestly, truth be told. Discipline wasn't my thing when I was growing up. You had it in spades. But as I am working with churches, and St. Paul reminds us in 2 Timothy chapter 2 that no one serving as a soldier gets entangled in civil affairs. One of the things that a lot of the congregations, Jerry, that we work with, a lot of the organizations we're with, they get distracted by all of the other ancillary stuff. It's good stuff, but it's not like the mission.
It's not the thing.
Right. So I would love for you to tell us a little bit about how important focus is from a military person, especially someone with your sort of credentials.
Absolutely. The mission's everything. I mean, I wrote a book on this topic called Live on Mission Today. And because what I have found is that so many people in their personal lives and so many organizations are off mission. You know, in the book of Proverbs, when it talks about without a word from the Lord, without a vision, the people will perish. It's because people need to be restrained. That's what that scripture is talking about. That when God gives a word, when God gives a vision, when God gives us a mission, it restrains us. It keeps us focused on what we're supposed to be doing with our lives.
Yeah, and Jerry, I want to pick that up because I think if I remember right, that's Proverbs 29, verse 18. We use it all the time in what we do because it's not just any vision. It's not like it's my vision. It's prophetic vision.
Exactly.
God's vision.
It's a
If
word
we
from
as
the Lord.
God's people are not pursuing his vision, then we're not doing what we are called to do. We're not being who we are called to be.
Yeah, you know, that's that whole thing is it's when it talks about the people perishing without a word from the Lord, you know, as you know, that language is talking about they're left without restraint. They're like sheep without a shepherd.
Yeah.
And so the church needs a process, a leadership process. The church needs a word from the Lord that keeps all the people together. And one of the things that we have learned at my church in Newcastle, Indiana, is that we may not always agree on the what's and the hows, but we must agree on the why.
The why.
The why is the mission.
Yeah.
What are we all about? And what are we going to accomplish? And I know as an infantry officer serving the 82nd Airborne Division, you know, I was in the 2nd Battalion, the 505th Parachute Infantry Regiment, and our motto was H minus, which meant that we were prepared to deploy and ready to accomplish mission without notice. And we were a 2-hour, no notice, like rapid deployment unit. And so we had to have everything trained. We had to train ourselves so that when we were called, it wasn't like, what are we going to do now? It's like we knew our mission. We were trained because we stayed focused. Our training was all focused on accomplishing a mission because we never knew when we were going to be called up to go.
Yeah. And then, that's a really great thing because I think when you were serving then, this phrase, let's go, wasn't as popular as it is now, but I've got a son-in-law who's in the Navy, and his whole thing is let's go. Always ready, right?
Absolutely.
And we can always be ready. We're always focused on that mission, focused on what's got to be done, and focused on who we are as God's chosen soldiers, in a sense.
And that's the key, actually, in that passage in 2 Timothy 2, you know, it's a concrete metaphor. It's not a simile. It's not saying we're like soldiers. It's saying we are soldiers for Christ. We've been enlisted for this purpose.
Yeah.
And so we have been enlisted by God to be a part of his mission. It's not our mission. The mission has been given to us, and soldiers cannot. I was an active duty soldier. Okay, and active duty soldiers must remain focused on the mission because we're on the tip of the spear.
Yeah.
And here's the deal. The church is the tip of the spear here on earth. We are active duty. We cannot be entangled by lesser things, no matter how important we think they are. That is not the work of the church. The church must remain focused, laser focused, and that requires daily focus, that requires process, that requires leadership.
Awesome, Jerry. I really appreciate you sharing us your perspective. And we're going to continue our discussion in our next video on focus, as Jerry's going to tell us in another metaphor of military context, what it looks like for us to be truly focused, and how the reality, the fact that we as God's children are actively under attack,
Oh, absolutely.
how it requires us to be focused, to be true to who we are as his people. Thanks, Jerry.
Thanks, Dan. Glad to be here.